Every generation of football fans has that one player. The player that made kids want to play in the streets for hours, pull off ridiculous skills, even buy their first football boots. These guys were more than just players, man. They were childhood heroes. Today, we are going to talk about the childhood football heroes across every generation, starting with the 7. Let's go. Now, I think it's safe to say that if you grew up in the 60s and 70s, your childhood football hero was Pelé. I mean, there's a reason why he has the Portuguese nickname Orai, which means the king in English. This guy was probably the reason your grandpa started playing football. Go ask him after you watch this video, of course. He's the only player in football history to win a World Cup age 17 in 1958, and then he won 2 more after that, the last one being in 1970. This guy was an icon worldwide, let alone Brazil. But I understand, some of you may argue that Cruyff, Beckenbauer, or even Gerd Muller were more influential throughout the 70s. And you wouldn't be wrong, those are solid arguments. I know Cruyff won 3 Ballon d'Ors in the 70s, but I'm willing to reckon that Pelé's success throughout the 60s, which carried on into the 1970 World Cup, sealed his legendary status, and is what really earned him the king nickname. I mean, let me tell you how fellow professional footballers that I've seen him play have described it. Hungarian legend Ferenc Puskás stated, "The greatest player in history was Di Stefano." I refuse to classify Pelé as a player. He was above them. German legend Beckenbauer, which I mentioned earlier, stated, "Pelé is the greatest player of all time. He reigned supreme for 20 years. And even my GOAT, Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro, stated, "Pelé is the greatest player in football history, and there will only be one Pelé." If this doesn't convince you Pelé owned the 70s, I must tell you one last thing. Pelé has done most of the skills your favorite footballers do today. Cruyff turn, he did it first. Bicycle kick, he did it first. No look, he did it first. You get the point. Let's move on to the 80s.
Viven en un country, andan en BMW para arriba.
And the 80s hero is none other than Diego Maradona. I think we all know he was involved in some sketchy practices. For the sake of this, I'll only be talking about football. Maradona was Messi before Messi. This guy debuted professionally for his club aged 15. That is ridiculously young. For him, it was just barbecue chicken from there. Scoring goals, dribbling players, climbing the ranks, and getting a move to Barca after the 1982 World Cup. He left for a world record £5 million back then. Inflation is so crazy. Someone of his caliber would probably go for like 200 mil nowadays. Maybe even a bill if you're talking Saudi. But he was cooking at Barca despite all the difficulties he had to endure. Hepatitis and a horrible Brexit on his ankle, plus one significant incident. Long story short, Maradona was involved in a horrible brawl on live TV, which ended with his move to Napoli on mutual terms. But this is where the football starts to do the talking for him. Napoli had never won a Serie A before him, and their location in southern Italy was important, considering north-south relations in Italy at the time. So when he came, dominated the league, and won them a cup in the 86-87 season, he became their idol, man. Murals of him were everywhere, people were naming their kids after him, it was crazy. The cherry on top was actually the World Cup the summer before, which he scored what is called the greatest goal of all time. Bro, it's so similar to the Ankara Messi clip. Maradona was a beast, but this is also when he scored the infamous hand of God, which was controversial because I mean, bro, you can't score goals with your hands. But hate him or love him, Maradona, despite everything around his name, was a legend of the 80s. Kids looked up to him, hopefully only for football. Let's move to the 90s. Now for the 90s, there was only one player on my mind. R9, El Fenomeno, the original Ronaldo, according to Thierry Henry. R9 was low-key a step-over merchant, just like CR7 after him, and man were his step-overs good. He debuted professionally in 1993 at age 17 in Brazil, hooked up, and then moved to PSV after the 1994 World Cup. Fun fact, Ronaldo actually technically won this World Cup despite the fact he did not play any matches, but at PSV, he scored 10 minutes into his debut, and once again, it was barbecue chicken from there. And then he moved to Barca and did it all over again. At his physical peak, he was ridiculous. Jose Mourinho is quoted in regards to him saying he's the greatest player he's ever seen in his life. One of his most iconic goals was at Barca in 1996, and just wow. This goal had his coach like this, bro. But after this, he started to have a lot of problems with his knees, as you all may know. After moving to Inter in 97 and winning the Ballon d'Or in 98, he did his usual domination the first 2 years at Inter. But in 1999, R9 got his first knee injury, which spiraled into him not playing more than 10 minutes of football for 2 years. It was pretty sad, but when he returned for the 2002 World Cup, the guy was amazing. This is actually why he got his iconic haircut. It was to distract the media and his fans from his injury record. He led Brazil to their 5th World Cup that year and was instrumental. After the World Cup, he went to Madrid during the Galacticos era and kept on performing. Zidane loved playing with this guy, stating Ronaldo is the best player I have ever played with or against. By the way, all those people who say R9 was just indisciplined aren't the sharpest tool in the shed. While we don't know his diet, nor can we see his medical records, the guy publicly stated he had hypothyroidism. It makes it pretty hard to lose weight and have energy to play. Combine that with the fact that his medication would have technically counted as doping, according to FIFA, and you get a real plumpy Ronaldo. But R9 quietly retired in 2011 and went down as a legend of the 90s. Now before I say who I think was the hero of the 2000s, I want you to know it was hard for me to decide. The amount of talent in 2000s football was unreal. Serious. There were world-class players everywhere. Iniesta, Xavi, Zidane, Kaká, Thierry Henry, Eto'o, you get it. But even though my ball knowledge is on the line, I think Dinho will take the cake here. He played every game with a smile on his face, and his playstyle was the embodiment of Brazilian football. I'll be honest, I didn't grow up in this era, but seeing his highlights makes me want to try stuff. This guy was Neymar before Neymar, and he has a World Cup and a Ballon d'Or to back it up too. He was dancing on the field, literally. Not gonna lie though, he was an elastico merchant. However, it did bring him success internationally and at club level. I have no criticism. Also, fun fact, at age 13, Dinho scored 23 goals in a 23-0 win for his local futsal team. But yes, if you don't agree with me, I don't blame you, and I would like to hear your opinion. Let's get to the last two generations. Now, your childhood hero for the 2010s was very unique, very split between two specific guys, which is so clear. For the 2010s, it was Messi and Ronaldo. These two guys were so clear that no one else could win a Ballon d'Or for the next 10 years besides them two. There's a reason why they're the go-to football men. It's just insane. I don't think I have to yap too much about their careers. I'm sure you know about everything they've done. Let's get into our final generation. The last generation is probably your little sibling, 2020. If you grew up in the 2020s, you either have a little ball knowledge infused by some relatives, or you think Mbappe is the GOAT. I don't blame you. I'm willing to argue Mbappe is the best player of these times. Yeah, he has no UCL. Come on, that Madrid is bound to come soon. I think we all know about his World Cup performances. This guy turns into something else. This guy is arguably about to reach legend status already. His stats are insane. But that is all I have for you today. If you agree or disagree with anything I said, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one.